And thanks for watching the Cardinals Nest here on HBC Channel 25. I'm Dean Beckman, joined by Donny Nadeau, the Sports Information Director for St. Mary's. And this is our last Cardinals Nest of the 2011-2012 school year. So thanks for joining us here on Channel 25. And Donny, a little bit later on in the program, we'll bring in Nikki Fennern, the Athletic Director for the Cardinals, and kind of recap what has been a very, very good 2011-2012 sports season, and a fast one at that.
Oh, fast! That's an understatement there. It's hard to believe when you say that this is our last show of the season. It feels like we just started, but spring sports are winding up, and it'll be good to have Nikki on and just kind of talk about the state of Cardinal athletics and get it from a different perspective. Every week we sit here and you and I talk about what's going on in the world of Cardinal sports. It'll be nice to get a different voice and maybe a different view of things that maybe we don't see. And I know she's very involved with our upcoming centennial at St. Mary's, so we can pick her brain a little bit about what's gonna happen in terms of events and whatnot for the centennial that comes up next year.
Yeah, big year next year, no question about that. And Donny, it's been a big spring for our fall sports teams because most of the teams still very much in the playoff hunt as we come down to the final week here of conference play. And we'll start out with the softball team. Since our show last week, they have played 6 games, and Donny, unfortunately, they have lost 5 of those 6 games, but still very much in the hunt for one of those 4 final spots in the MIAC Conference Softball Tournament.
No question. It's going to be a battle right to the finish, just like it was last year for them. They were fortunate enough to get into the conference tournament last year. I know, Coach, you mentioned that they've played 3 doubleheaders in just a short amount of time. Coach Miller actually got some good news, if you want to call it that, in that Thursday's scheduled doubleheader against UW La Crosse has been canceled because of the rain, and La Crosse had to move some games. Allows the Cardinals to maybe get a little rest, get a chance to catch their breath before a really big weekend. They've got Gustavus at St. Mary's on Saturday, and then they close out the MIAC portion of their schedule on Sunday at St. Benedict, and so 4 very important games, and certainly 2 wins there would almost assure the Cardinals of a spot in the postseason again this year.
Right, and as we saw in the conference standings, they're currently in that 4th spot, but that could still go to a few different teams, and so those last 2 conference games against Gustavus on Saturday and then St. Ben's next week really will be huge as far as determining who gets that final spot.
Yeah, and you look at the standings right there, and you can see. The showdown with St. Benedict on Sunday is absolutely critical. They need to come up with 2 wins there against the Blazers, and if history repeats itself, I can almost guarantee you they're going to be 1-run games. Those 2 teams have played the last 3 years. Each game has been decided by 1 run. So if Coach Miller knows anything about Denny Johnson and the Blazers, it's that it's going to be a battle to the finish, and there's going to be a lot on the line. So hopefully the Cardinals are ready to go on Sunday.
And one of their games that they have just concluded, it was a non-conference game against Eau Claire, and that was kind of a good preparation, I think, for these final conference games because Eau Claire always a powerhouse in softball.
No question, and it's going to be very similar to what they face against Gustavus, and then you go into St. Ben's as well. Eau Claire is a very, very talented team. They're up and down in terms of the national rankings, and are going to be one of those teams in the WIAC that's going to be battling for the regular season and postseason titles there. So you're right. It was a good chance for them to face 2 solid pitchers the Blue Goats threw at them, and hopefully as they get ready for Gustavus now, they can rest just a little bit. Hopefully Caleb Peterson's arm doesn't fall off before Saturday, but they're playing solid softball right now, and now it's just a matter of putting it all together in a very, very important weekend.
Yeah, and also a chance to see some of these younger players under more pressure situations, like Alex Rasky, still batting above 400. She sits at 405, 18 RBIs, 4 home runs on the season, Donny. Jen Miller just has to be thrilled that the way she has played, and also the fact that she's only a freshman.
No question, and you look at she's a catcher as well, and has just a cannon for an arm. Teams can't steal on her very often, and she's having a great freshman season. And I think that maybe her performance has sparked Aaron Stenseth a little bit. The junior from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, has just been on an absolute tear of late. She's heads into the weekend with a 10-game hitting streak, and in that time has hit .578. Last week she was named MIAC Player of the Week, which is a great honor for Erin, and she had an outstanding week last week and just picked up 3 more hits against Eau Claire on Tuesday, so she's playing very well. And you know, we talk a lot about the importance of the younger players kind of stepping up into their own, and I think that you look at some of those upperclassmen, Erin being one of them, Haley Ohl and Paige Carter, you know, Nicole Olson as a senior. These are the people that need to be the leaders, and so far this year, that's really what they've done. They've done a great job of leading, and you know, with Erin really stepping up and getting that hot bat, she's leading more by example at the plate than maybe vocally. You know, she's a solid player. She's doing a great job of playing a number of positions. Coach Miller's got her playing left field. She's got her playing second base. She's played shortstop. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she's behind the plate someday. Yeah. But, you know, she'll do just about anything that's asked of her, and is really having a great finish to her junior year.
Right. And Donnie, you know, you have mentioned Paige Carter quite a bit on this show. Not only has she hit well, 346 average, but as you mentioned, she has been sort of forced into that backup pitcher role due to injury to relieve Kayla Peterson a little bit. She's appeared in 19 games, so she's really done a nice job playing a position she maybe wasn't expecting to play going into the season.
No question. I think I've become the biggest Paige Carter fan, and really it's because, like we talked last week, I just think it's really impressive that you've got a person who's such a talent in the outfield, and she's asked to do something that she's probably not very comfortable doing, and yet, you know, every game you see her in that pitcher circle, she's just, you know, giving it everything she's got. She's absolutely the consummate team player, and you know, it says a lot about her as an individual that she will do whatever Coach Miller asks her to do. You know, kind of like every player on that team. You know, Coach Miller asks them to step in the pitcher circle or play first base or whatever it is. They're going to do it because if that benefits the team, then that's what it's all about.
All right, let's switch over to baseball now. And Donnie, we had Sam Nord and Pat Jacobson on the show last week. A big game against St. John's on Saturday, and they really played well in that one. Lost the first one as a hard-fought game, 5-0. Came back, though, and won the nightcap, and that was a big win. They are now above 500 on the season, 17-16 overall, 6-8 in the conference, and they, too, are still in the hunt for the final MIAC conference playoff spot.
Absolutely, and they're playing some really good baseball right now. And I think, you know, if you look at the St. Mary's team, what really impresses me with them is their resiliency. You look at, you know, you mentioned they lost the first game against St. John's 5-0, come back and score 9 runs in the second game to win. Then on Tuesday, they're up at McAllister. They dropped the first game 9-4, giving up 4 runs in the 6th inning, so they're kind of down. They turn around and they play a great second game, and they win 5-1. So it's a team that is not going to be rattled if they do happen to drop a game. They've got 6 conference games left, and right now they're kind of on the outside looking in, but you put together a 6-game winning streak here at the end, and they're going to be right there for that 4th and final playoff spot. And you know, I know Coach Winnicky is not one to pat himself on the back, but I'll certainly pat him on the back. For him to be where they're at in the conference standings right now, with every team in the conference picking them to finish dead last, he's really done a phenomenal job with that team. And you know, whatever he's doing, they're responding to him as the coach, and they're listening to what he says. The guy knows a lot about baseball, and I think that's really becoming evident in the play of the Cardinals. And you know, just like the softball team, they're getting great performances from a number of different players, and you know, pitching-wise, Teddy Van Rance continues to just have an outstanding junior season. He's pitched 4 or more innings in every one of his starts this year, which is outstanding for a coach, because they can kind of sit back and say, okay, Teddy, here's the ball, give me some innings so we can you know, have a chance to win, and that's what he's been doing for him.
Well, and I was going to say, Donnie, would you agree that that's probably the one ingredient they had been missing in previous seasons, is kind of that go-to pitcher, that ace they can give the ball to and be pretty well assured that they're going to get a really good start out of it.
Absolutely, and really, if you look at the Cardinals, they've got 2 of those in Teddy Van Rance and Justin Cronenbusch. Justin's really starting to come back on. He struggled a little bit in the middle of the season, but yeah, he like Teddy is one of those that Coach Winnicky can give him the ball and say, here you go, and let's get to work. And Justin threw 6 innings of Game 2 against McAllister on Tuesday and picked up the win. And so you need that. You've got to have pitchers who can keep you in the ball game and you know, let the offense do their job. But when you're always trying to dig out of holes, it makes it very difficult. So this year, one of the big pluses for Coach Winnicky and the Cardinals is that they're getting good pitching. They're not forced to dig out of early holes, and you know, they're staying close until they can get their bats going, and you know, every game that they've played in has been a real battle.
Right, and as far as getting their bats going, for most of the games this year, that has been the case. Where they struggle occasionally is getting that one big gap hit that can score 2-3 runs at a time. So if there's one area of improvement yet, maybe that's a little bit of power and punch in that line.
Absolutely, and right now their biggest power hitters are John Schlemmer and Kevin Gannon, and John had a huge hit against St. John's, a big 3-run double, and you're right, that's what they need. They're getting runners on base. It's getting that key hit when you really need it. Yeah. You know, I'm not a baseball player, but you know, you get a guy on first base, that's the easy part. It's the hard part's getting him to score, and hopefully people after him. So you know, they're doing a good job of you know, making contact, as Coach Winnicky always says, get the ball in play, make something happen. And right now that's what they're doing, and it's fun to watch, and you can see the confidence grow with every game. You know, like I said to open this segment, they're playing with confidence because they know, win or lose that first game, they're going to be there in the second game ready to go to battle again. And I think that that's a sign of a really good team and a sign of great things to come. They graduate three players that they're certainly going to miss in Kurt Swanson and Danny Garrity and Max Ferguson, but you're only losing 3 and you return everybody else, and that's certainly a big plus, and you know, a good sign of things to come for the future. Coach Winnicky's got things going in the right direction, and I wouldn't be surprised for them to just pick up next year and continue to make that climb up the conference ladder.
Right, and again, it's still a chance to make the playoffs. They have Augsburg at home this Saturday, Donnie, so that's going to be a big game, and then right after that, Hamlin and Carleton again.
Yeah, big game against Augsburg. Augsburg is in the middle of the conference standings. It's one of those teams they've got to leapfrog over if they want to get into that top 4 spot. So, you know, as I try to get things out of Coach Winnicky, and all I get is every game is big, and he's right. You know, he's not about to look ahead to Hamlin or to Carleton because he's got to focus his team on Augsburg and really focus them on that opening pitch against Augsburg, because that's where it starts. He can't worry about game 2 or Hamlin or Carleton. He's got his focus on Augsburg in that first game in that doubleheader Saturday, 1 o'clock at Max Moloch.
Another team leaving us in suspense, Donnie, is women's tennis. Also still a chance to make the playoffs. They won against St. Olaf 5-4, and then a tough 5-4 loss to McAllister on senior day here at home.
Yeah, it's a tough way for them to lose their final home match in that 5-4 loss, but the 5-4 win over Olaf, first time in Coach Halberg's tenure here that we've beaten St. Olaf, so that's a great feather in his cap. And unfortunately, you know, as you look back and you talk about the conference tournament, that loss to McAllister certainly hurts. It you know, it puts them kind of in a not only a must-win situation as they close out their conference season up at St. Catherine on Saturday, but a must-win big situation. Right now, they're a game behind St. Kate's for the 6th and final playoff spot. Concordia is also a game behind St. Kate's. The way things probably are going to shape up, St. Mary's has to win. Plain and simple, they've got to win that match. But what's probably going to happen is if they win, they're going to finish in a 3-way tie with Concordia and St. Catherine for that one spot. Then you go to the second tiebreaker, which gets extremely confusing. And through all of the mathematics, they've really got to win 8-1 or 9-0 over St. Catherine for them to win the tiebreaker and get a shot at and making the conference tournament. Can it be done? Absolutely. With this team, there's no question it can be done. But it's certainly St. Kate's is a very solid team. They're right in the middle there, and so you know, it's going to be tough to do. But they definitely have a chance, and they're going to have to play put it all together, one match. For all the marbles, really, is what it is.
Right. And, of course, you know, we had Jeff Hallberg on a few weeks ago. He's certainly very pleased with the women's season, happy with the men's season as well, even though they close it out and end up losing 7-2 to Northwestern College, 6-3 to St. Olaf, and then 5-4 to McAllister. So on the McAllister side, they get the Cardinals on the women and men by those 5-4 counts.
Yeah, Coach Halber is going to lose the little bit of hair he's got left with all these close matches. But you're right. You know, when you said he's pretty pleased with the way the men played. I think obviously he would have liked to see more wins. But you look at how many of those matches they played were 5-4 decisions or 6-3 decisions, matches that were right there to the very end. And I know when we had Jeff on here, one of the things we talked about was the play of Mike Lunka and Bobby Steingraber. What a great season for them at #1 doubles. To finish 19-2 is pretty impressive. You know, that's a number that probably is not going to be not going to be beaten for a long time. And Mike earned MIAC Tennis Player of the Week honors for last week. He won both of his matches against Olaf and McAllister and both of his double matches with Bobby. So he was 4-0 on the weekend. A great honor for him to be named MIAC Athlete of the Week. And you know, a nice way for him to close out his junior year. And with those two coming back, and you know, they're certainly going to miss Justin Loeffler, their lone senior who graduates this year. But with everybody else coming back, you've got Sam Puff, who's playing very well. You got Bobby and Mike. They've certainly got the nucleus there to make a run next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Donnie, in track and field, it's the home meet coming up this Saturday for the St. Mary's track and field team. So we'll have track going on, we'll have baseball, we'll have softball, the row, ride, and run is on Saturday. Busy Saturday at St. Mary's. But last week it was the Phil Eston Challenge in lacrosse, and a terrific showing by the long-distance runners for the Cardinals. They put on quite a show.
Yeah, Aaron Haley and Jake Traxler had really solid meets. And I think that, you know, as I talked to Coach McMahon, there's a real big buzz on campus right now, and it's about this weekend. He's very excited about the home meet. He's got 11 teams coming in, so it's a very large meet that's going to take place on campus, and you know, he's real excited about that. He's excited about the way his teams have been competing. You know, like I mentioned, Jake and Aaron have done a great job. Their middle and distance runners have really turned things up a notch this outdoor season. We talked a lot about them in the indoor, that they did a nice job, but everything seems to be ramped up even a little bit more in the outdoor season. And really, it's hard to believe, but their seasons are winding up as well. They've got the meet on Saturday here at St. Mary's. Then they both go on the road Wednesday, and then they're at Wisconsin on Saturday, and then it's the outdoor championship. So they're getting into that prime form before before the outdoor conference championships up in Moorhead. So hopefully things will continue to progress. I'm guaranteeing that there's going to be some solid performances this weekend, just because it's at home. It's always nice to run in front of your home crowd, and I'm sure there's going to be a big crowd there with everything that's going on campus. It's going to be a buzz, and it should be a lot of fun on Saturday.
Parking at a premium. Reserve your spot now. Now with the St. Mary's Open, it's developing a very good reputation. Any idea how many teams are coming on Saturday?
There'll be 11 teams here, so it's going to be almost like having the conference championships here again. And I know Coach McMahon's very excited about that. Like you said, it's becoming one of those things that people want to come here for. It's a great meet. He does an outstanding job of putting it on. And, you know, it should be a lot of fun. It really is exciting that we've got all of these events on campus, because I think it really is going to bring a lot of the campus community together. You know, there's so much to do. Like you said, you've got the row, ride, run on in the morning. You can come right up to campus and watch some baseball and softball, hop over to the track complex, and it's all right there. It's not like you have to drive anywhere, although you have to find parking. But other than that, it should be a great day on campus on Saturday.
I'm glad I live close enough. I can just walk right on up. All right, stay tuned. We will recap all of the sports seasons coming up next with Athletic Director Nikki Fennern right here on the Cardinals Nest on HBC.
Hey, Bucky. Hey, that piece on left-handed athletes, is that almost done? Okay, thanks.
This is the NASCAR Nationwide Series, where drivers push themselves to the next level, and sometimes it's where they have to push each other into the wall to get there. This is where the next crop of drivers will be grown, where they'll become known by those who know racing. The Nationwide Series. Names are made here. The NASCAR Nationwide Series on ESPN and ESPN2.
That was awesome. I know.
Damn, I'm good.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest, final show of the 2011-2012 academic year, and Dean Beckman, Donny Nadeau, Nikki Fennern joining us, the athletic director for St. Mary's. Nikki, thanks for being on the show. And I had to imagine you were sweating bullets a little bit when you heard Donny and I talk about Saturday, April 28th, with the roll ride run in the morning. We've got baseball, home softball, home track and field with 11 teams total.
Sure.
It's going to be a busy day.
It's definitely an exercise in event management on Saturday, so it will be, but we love that. We love the exciting atmosphere on campus. When we have both baseball and softball home, that's one thing, and that's a great atmosphere. But throw in a track and field meet with 11 different teams. We're going to have 400-plus athletes just in track and field. And then the row ride run, everything ending in a common location. Just really an opportunity to highlight our student athletes, our campus, our complex. We love these opportunities.
Yeah. Get that hot dog machine oiled up. It's going to be busy on Saturday.
You talk about the buzz that's on campus about this weekend, but really the buzz has been on campus about Cardinal athletics, really starting from the very beginning.
Sure.
Added a couple of new coaches in the fall with Coach Watkins and Coach Cassidy, and things just have really kind of progressed very nicely throughout the season. As the athletic director, can you kind of give us the state of Cardinal athletics?
Well, we're excited about the movement that's happening in Cardinal athletics, and you alluded to it a little bit. This fall, we had 3 new head coaches. We had new head coaches in men's and women's golf, in women's soccer, and in men's soccer. And you could really see what those coaches were doing with their teams and some of that culture that was really growing with those programs. And the amount of recruiting that is happening with those teams and the number of people that are coming to campus specifically for women's soccer and men's soccer and golf are just amazing for us. Volleyball is always exciting. And then you had men's cross country make a huge leap in the conference standings this year. So we couldn't be more excited about what happened with our men's cross country team. You know, then you enter the winter schedule, and you get into a situation where our men's hockey team is playing 14 or 15 one-goal games. We beat the national champions. We had a great record against teams that were in the national tournament. So they had a really exciting season. Women's hockey was right in the playoff hunt. And then really highlighted in the winter by women's basketball. Just a great playoff run. We go to St. Olaf, and our fans really stepped up for us for women's basketball. We had a fan bus go to St. Olaf, fan bus go to St. Thomas, and it really turned an away game into a home game for us. And so really talked about the buzz and the excitement that was happening on campus.
Yeah, Nikki, I want to touch on that women's basketball just a little bit more because I think one of the things that gets lost with that team is that it's still a relatively young team. I mean, this is not like they had tons of seniors on the team.
Yes.
You know, they're still very young and played St. Thomas very, very close in a number of different games this season, including that playoff contest.
Absolutely. We'll lose one player from this year's women's basketball team. And so to return that big of a nucleus is absolutely phenomenal. And what they did to St. Olaf, we dominate the first half, we let it slip a little bit in the second half, and then we come back and we pull out a great game at the end. And so did really well, and then held St. Thomas in check for the entire game. And you know, that's a team who goes on to finish 3rd in the country. And so I think that we had a great showing. And you know, to add on to that, I was listening to you in the first segment, and I was thinking about some of our teams, and you know, I think it's maybe summed up with what you hear in our baseball starting lineup. You hear sophomore, 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 sophomore. We've got a lot of talent. We love our seniors. Our seniors are very talented. We also have a lot of talent coming up in those sophomores, juniors classes as well. So we're really excited about the future in women's basketball and all of our teams as well.
You know, one of the things that's very important for all of our teams is depth, and sometimes you don't necessarily have the depth that some of these other schools have, and then injuries crop up, and it really, you know, we've talked a lot lately about Caleb Peterson having to do so much pitching. Well, part of that is because of the injuries to the pitchers, and it really has been kind of an injury-plagued year all year for a lot of our teams.
Right, and so we become happy about where we're moving. Never satisfied is the phrase that I use. We're always happy about things, but never satisfied, and happy that we've been able to progress, oftentimes in spite of some of the things that have happened. We have had major injuries in volleyball, women's soccer, men's basketball, women's hockey, baseball, softball, tennis, golf, just major injuries, and not for lack of conditioning, but things that are beyond our control. And so we're just kind of looking to say, let's get through this. We're excited to go through an injury-free year next year, because we deserve it.
Well, and I think one of the things, you talk about the injuries, but the success in spite of those injuries.
Correct.
And it brings up something Donnie mentioned with the baseball team, and that is after they lose a first game, they always come back strong in the second game. So it seems as though mental toughness is really being preached across the board in the athletic program.
And you know, just like your teammate might have a bad day, you have to think about if somebody gets injured, I have to step up as well. And so we found that with our teams, who's going to step up and who's going to make a difference to replace that person who went down with an injury. And so that's really what we've seen happen with several of our sports. And I think that Kayla is probably the prime example through it. You know, she had 2 of her pitching teammates go down with injuries, and so she said, okay, hand me the ball and hop on my shoulders, let's go. And she's done a great job for us.
We talk a lot about the athletes and the success that they're having this year, but part of the reason for that is the hard work of the coaches. They spend a lot of time that people don't see, and that is really on the recruiting trail. As a former coach, talk a little bit about the effort that they have to put in behind the scenes.
Sure. I think there's sometimes a misconception that, hey, coach, you're out of season, so what do you do now? And the answer to that is always we recruit, and then we recruit, and then we recruit some more. And so it's a huge component. I think you've seen, I talked earlier about men's and women's soccer. I don't think there's a day goes by that we don't have a men's or women's soccer recruit on our campus. And they're doing an outstanding job. At one point in our women's soccer program, I heard from our coach, we have 10 recruits. They're from 6 different states. And so it's going near and far to secure just great student athletes for our programs. I think one of the best comments that I heard is somebody asked Mandy Pearson, our women's basketball coach, just shortly after the conference tournament run. And the question was, Coach, what's life like after a good season? And she said, it's the same. We're working really hard. And so that motor always keeps going with our coaches, and what they do in and out of their season and the work and the hours that they put in is just phenomenal.
You know, the other thing, too, that really strikes me, and sometimes it's easy to forget, but the sacrifice that not only the athletes make, but their families as well. I was talking to a number of families at the baseball game last week, and they said, hey, we really like the Cardinals Nest, enjoy watching it. And, you know, it struck me how much time they spend in travel, coming down to Winona, or when we play up in the cities, they're often there, but the families make a lot of not only financial, but time sacrifices as well.
And our families are phenomenal. We have great parental support, family support, and grandmas and grandpas and cousins and nieces and nephews and everybody else who wants to be a part of Cardinal Athletics. And we're very appreciative of that support because it takes an entire family to move our programs. You know, whether it's the baseball team, you see that the parents are bringing food in between and providing a picnic for them between games of doubleheaders. We've got our parents in men's and women's basketball who just show up, you know, do or die. They're going to be there for those events. And so across the board, they do a great job of supporting Cardinal Athletics, their sons and daughters, and the coaches as well.
Well, Nikki, we're out of time for not only this Cardinals Nest, but for the Cardinals Nest for 2011-2012. But I know with St. Mary's Centennial celebration next year, athletics will be very much a part of that. So we look forward to all of the festivities with that. So thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching the Cardinals Nest here on HBC.